Hmm.
We are a CDFI designated lender, and that designation is given to us by the U.S. Treasury. In a
Hmm.
CDFI designation, I'm happy to go. I have a nice little presentation here that I will share with you guys. But a CDFI designation is a designation that's honored to us by the U.S. Treasury, and this allows us to be able to offer really what it boils down to: certain programs and certain loans that are backed by the U.S. Treasury that allow us to do loans that other lenders can't do. A large percentage of our business is lent to ethnic minority groups that typically have either been underserved or overlooked or haven't been able to get financing from traditional lenders. And so although that's a large part of our business, your loans and your borrowers don't have to be one of those minority ethnic groups, but that's a large part of what we do, and those programs are in terms offered to you and allow us to do loans that other lenders can't do.
So now was those groups, whatever you ethnic groups. You mean everyone but white people?
So it is Black, African American, Hispanic, and Latino. And then they opened up ADA, so Americans with Disabilities. And they are also, I've heard rumors that we were going to be adding Vietnamese to one of the protected groups soon. Those are
Interesting.
the groups that they get a special CDFI discount, which currently is 5/8 off of today's rates.
And how do they know who is who?
That is designated off of the 1003, the info that you provide on the borrower demographic information. So if
Yes,
your
but
borrower identifies as one of those groups,
the one of the items there don't want to disclose.
so sometimes they choose not to, but if they choose to and they identify as one of those groups, then they can be eligible for the pricing incentive.
In other words, if they choose not to disclose, means they are not going to be eligible for this program. Might not be able.
They will be eligible for the program. You don't have to be one of those groups. They just wouldn't receive the additional rate discount. We
Oh,
don't.
I see.
You
I
don't
see. So,
have. Yeah. So none of the borrowers or your loan op your none of your files have to be any of these ethnic groups. They just
mhm.
get an additional loan discount if they do identify as one of those groups.
But at the same time, uh, people don't have to people not necessarily tell the truth. If they know, let's say, if we let them know that this is special program for people who are African American or Black, whatever we call it, and or Hispanic or any other designation, they can always claim that I am what I am. People have a tendency to use whatever benefits they can get to get better rate. How this can be checked?
Yeah, Sherry, maybe you could do it. Do we? Is there a way for us to verify, or do we verify what's disclosed on the 1003?
Well, we do go off like again on that 1003, that government monitoring, and again we do, leave it up to that customer, that client, to make sure they're telling the truth. We don't have we don't check the race against the ID, the ID or anything like
Yeah.
that. But we do have to, give our customer the benefit of the doubt, and they do sign those documents in good faith that
Yeah.
everything on those documents are legal, right? So if they legally say something that's not, if they say something that's not correct, these are legal documents and can fall back on them as well. I did also want to mention that this CDFI discount is not just based off of those three things with our the ADA and those two ethnicities, but also for low income.
Yeah.
So when that low income when the address comes in, it is checked through our geocoder, and if it is in a low income area, they can also qualify that way. So that does broaden the scope of who qualifies for this as well.
Oh,
Thank you,
perfect.
Sherry. You hit
Perfect.
on a very important one that I just so nicely left out. So yeah, low income is a big
Okay,
big part of it.
let's understand what this low income represents, and give me some idea about numbers. And it goes by the areas or the person's income.
There's a couple of ways. One of them is by the area, the how where the house is, and that is, and I'm just going to speak to kind of what I know based off of our underwriting conversations. It is based off of the address. One of them is based off of the address, so that is put into the geocoder, and we look at the statistics for that. Particular address in that county, and it gives an income description. So if the income is comes under low income, then they would qualify for that discount to the rate. There is another one where if there is no eligibility for those other four options, the ethnicity, the ADA, or the low income based off of the housing tract, we do pull transcripts. And the calculation on that one, I'm not exactly sure, to be honest. I don't want to give incorrect information, but I can get that information. We do take a look at the transcripts, not for income purposes, but to see if they fall under a certain income, and we can apply that discount that way as well. And I'll get the answer to that, like how that calculation is done. I just don't have it in front of me at the moment.
And then
When you
we pull
say,
that
when you,
internally, right? That's a 4506C or a 4506T.
We use the 4506C. Those are pulled internally, and the underwriter makes that determination by doing their research.
but what you are talking about, the areas, it reminds me census tract.
Yes, it's census tract, correct, the
Ah,
geocoder, right? So
okay.
you would go ahead and plug in that address to the federal geocoder, and then you would check for
So
what
we
they.
can do it ourselves. We don't have to ask you to do this.
Well, you can do it up front, yes, to see if that address is in one of those areas, but it will be done on the back end here as well.
No, I
So that we,
understand. No,
yeah,
because I'm looking for when I'm working with a client, and my concern is how they can get the loan. So if I know that I first I'll check the specific area, and I find out that if they will buy in this area, or they already own home in this area, it applies to refinancing as well, right?
correct.
Okay, so let's say if it's the first thing I do, I check the census tract in this case, and then I say, okay, yes, you can get benefit. I can get you a loan because of this, whatever area you live in.
Correct, and you can do that absolutely, as long as that census tract comes back in the low income and it says low, not moderate or high.
Yeah,
As long as it says low, you're good to go ahead and give that direction.
and it doesn't matter how much person earns. It's the area which defines low income, right?
For that particular option. So let's just say they don't qualify, their home is in a moderate area, right? If we do end up pulling their transcripts on the back end, and that calculation I was talking about that I need to get for you guys, um, if they fall under that, then it would be based off of their income. The one with the property address is based off the property, but there's two ways to qualify. It's if you want to put it in a low income category, one for the property and one for their income. The one for their income is the very last option that we go to see if anybody qualifies, right? That don't meet those ethnicities or the ADA or the property address.